My name is Jenessee, and this month for October, the Pick Your Path is going to be just a bit different. And I'd love your feedback, your comments to let me know how you enjoyed it. It's a lot of work what I did this time, and I only did it because October is such an important month before moving into November and then the conclusion of the year. And so I did what's called a whiteboard video for you, and it's very long, but there were some tools and techniques and things that just had to be written down for emphasis. So this is the last you're gonna see of me. Next, you're gonna get the whiteboard and the journey to pick your path. So I encourage you to stay through. There are 3 parts in this journey. You're going to listen to the energy of October and then decide what you've come from in September to pick your path, either red or blue. For this October, pick only one path. And then once you pick that path, stay listening, because we'll explain the difference between the linear paradox and living multidimensionally. And then at the very end, part 3, we're going to give a tool to live multidimensionally for both red and blue paths, since this is what all of humanity is being taught and really getting their butts kicked over this November. With light and love, enjoy your journey for this October. October's mantra is get ready to program, because November is gonna kick your butt if you are not ready. Join me now for the October reading for 2020. We're going to dive right in and explain the red and blue path. But first, I want to let you know that things are a little bit different. We're going to change it up just a bit, because we are at the final seconds, the final days to get your SH bleep bleep together. All right, because here we go right into November next month. And if you are not well prepared for November, you are going to miss the boat. And it is my personal responsibility to make sure that you have the tools you need. October is a 10 month. That means it is a complete programmable month. The ones and the zeros that come together to make the October numerology show you that everything is possible. In computer coding, you can use ones and zeros to basically explain the entire world. And that's what October is about. We're going to take all the ones and the zeros of this month of the energy surrounding us, and we're going to program ourselves to be in alignment to our highest potential come November. So we are winding down. Again, it is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off here. We are winding down into this final countdown to start the new paradigm. What does that mean, and how does it affect you? Basically, here in October, September should have been a month with lots of completions, lots of even new beginnings, because when something ends, something else is going to start. The September, the 9, the completion energy could have brought to your field of awareness choices, big choices you thought you already made and maybe had to make again, or rediscover a new potential, a new path that you didn't see available to you. And so here in October, what we do is we take that completion energy, everything from January through to September. We take the entire year thus far, and we end the book, we end the chapter, and we're ready to start here in October and get ourselves ready for this last quarter of the year. And this is the preparation for the new year coming in January. And so what starts happening here is we're going to have the big final face off with our old self. And this is very unique to the 2020 energy. We have been creating our new paradigm, our new reality that we get to play within. And so we have been fighting tooth and nail, kicking and screaming everything that represents the old self and everything we hope we're walking towards, which represents our new self, our new path. And so here at the end of in the beginning of October, and come the end of September, what we're transitioning from is this real big fight of the self. We're really having this final epic battle to see who's going to win and what's going to prevail in moving forward. And so that's why it's so important here in October to really get grounded, to get very clear on exactly what you want to carry forward. So as we enter this Pick Your Path month of October, we're going to start like we always do and review the potentials, review where we have come from. And so what we're coming from in September, in the completion month, is what we want to anchor into first to help you pick your path. So what we're going to do right now is take a deep cleansing breath, get yourself really aligned to everything you're entering this month of October with. Everything that happened to you from September, maybe some of those completions, some of those new beginnings, some of the things you let go of and are starting anew. So remember who you were, the choices you made, everything that was going on in September, because all of those choices that you made are now dictating kind of the path that you're going to be walking come here in October. So taking a look at the red path energy is going to be that of synchronicity. And so what this means is your September would have been filled with chance encounters. Your September would have been filled with lots of synchronistic occurrences, meaning you were thinking about something and then it showed up. You wanted something and then naturally things aligned to bring it to you. Everything was really in alignment to having your path unfold in a really fluid way, which means the mind was open to receive more of your purpose, more of your path, more of your destiny. And so when your mind is open and not controlling, when your mind is in the flow of what is, it's able to perceive how that is connecting and unfolding a path towards your highest, greatest outcome. And so if you were in that flow, if things just seem to fall into place, if things seem to make sense and align, then you will be walking the red path this October because of all of that energy you were connected to in September. So now to look at the blue path. If you were walking the blue path in this October, if you're going to be walking the blue path this October, the energy that you would have experienced in September would have been that of having to lead the way, having to be somebody who had maybe out of the box ideas, who was maybe guided by intuition or hunches or instincts that weren't completely recognized, accepted, or normal for the people around you. This energy is all about somebody who was really in line with themselves, who started to trust in their own intuitive guidance. And if it wasn't intuitive, you started to trust in what was happening within. You started to understand that if I am here and if I am honoring myself, then through that, I'm going to walk my path and not really allow opinions of other people to pull me down or take me off my path. And so the person walking the blue path would be engaged with more of a pioneering energy, somebody who was walking their own path and walking a mile ahead of everybody else on that path and not looking back to see what other people were saying or thinking about you or talking about you, right? So the blue path person this month would have in September felt maybe like they were separated, like other people didn't get them, like the group energy, the community, maybe the work you were a part of, that those people just didn't really see your ideas or understand what you were bringing to the table, and you had to kind of walk and navigate your own path. And so that would be our blue path energy for October. So again, if that was what you were carrying forward while making choices in September, that will be what you carry forward this October. So Those are the two paths. I encourage you now. Red path had a very synchronistic, very fluid, very in the right place at the right time. Things seem to happen. Things seem to click in. That would be the red path person. The blue path person is going to be all about the pioneer, the person who was about a mile ahead of everybody else last month, did not have maybe the group buy-in, but really felt guided and directed to follow your truth, to follow what felt right to you, even if nobody else was following behind you yet, or even if nobody else really understood it yet, right? And so those are our two paths. I encourage you now to make your choice and find the timestamp to move you forward, because what we're going to do is this month we're going to give just the mastery of what you're anchoring into. I'm going to save the new moon and the full moon, the new beginning and the duality. We're going to save those and reveal those as the month goes on, because this month I really want you to take your time and click in. I want you to program. I don't want you to get too overwhelmed with what is in the big picture. We need to take this step by step. And I'm going to also include for you a process that you can do at the end of this to make sure that you are living in a space of multidimensionality. And what that means is that you're living in a space of multiple potentials, that you're not getting yourself limited by the linear, the cyclical patterns of your past, because again, here in October, you need to be programming. If you are still walking a singular path, a linear path, you are in the mirror, you're stuck in the mirror reality, you are stuck in the old paradigm, and I cannot have that happen. Being somebody that you're listening to, I cannot have you stuck. We have to move forward. The energy has to ascend. We have to get more comfortable living in the multidimensionality and the multiple potentials of our essence and walking our path. And so we're going to do this a bit different, and that's why it's happening this way this month. But stay tuned, listen to your red or blue, and then join me at part 3, which will be the building your foundation in this new multidimensional reality. All right, so we've got red path this month, your mastery, coming from the kismet experience of September, is to really continue to manifest your mind. But this time what we want happening is not just the witnessing, not just understanding how things are aligning to your purpose and how things are completely attracting to you to keep you in the flow, but here in October, as you program, your mastery level is making sure that your mind is open to every potential and that you are grounded and present enough to allow that potential to start to manifest. So what you're starting to do is open up your mind in a multidimensional way. And then what happens when you're open to all potentials in the mind, not connected to any one outcome, when you hold space to allow everything to be your absolute potential, then what happens is you will get the signs just like you were having last month, but these signs are going to come in and anchor you into a 3D or a physical experience that will allow you to drop out of the multidimensional paradigm of the mind, allow you to interact in your physical reality with an encounter. This can be a person, this can be a job obligation, this can be something showing up that you need to do. This is an anchor to pull you into the physical motion of getting something done. And then once it's done, you can pop back up into the mental field and the multidimensional experience of entertaining everything. And so what you're going through programming this month, Red Path, is going to be truly learning how to start to work with yourself in a multidimensional way. as a human being. And so this is a really amazing opportunity. This means you're going to be able to witness what comes in. Again, we're going to keep you anchored into just the witnessing. I highly encourage you to move to part 3 of this and do the build your foundation, so that you can understand everything that's coming in, connecting to you, and then as it connects to you, how you can then stay open in the mental field and do only that which is serving you in the moment, or coming up for your physical energy, your physical engagement, when it anchors you back into kind of the more human energies, the human essence. So you're going to be moving from head to human, from head to human, from head to human. So this is going to be a really great way to start to live multidimensionally and learn how you do that as a human and tap into the everything that is, all the potentials, all the multiple timelines that are awaiting you. Tap in there with the mind and then only do what's showing up in the physical, and not trying to do everything that's a potential in the mind, because only those things that actually show up in your physical reality are the things that are appropriately timed for you at any given moment. And so you're going to be taught how to do this, on the red path, using this energy for you this month. So join me at part 3 and we'll go over your building a foundation for this mastery level energy. Blue path. If you picked the blue path, you're here because you were a bit in front of the crowd this month, last month actually. And so you were walking your walk, talking your talk, and doing it in a way that maybe people didn't quite get. And so pioneering, trying to walk your path, even though people maybe didn't understand it. So blue path, if you are here, your mastery for this month is all about stability. And so we're going right into your relationships, which is going to be interesting because your relationships, you're grounding your relationships. So this is all about what you're coming from September, and how you were guided to really take charge of your life and move forward, even though maybe people didn't get it. Now what you're being asked to do is just start to allow some of these people that are surrounding you to help anchor you in to a reality that is present and grounded, although you're still holding the essence of what got you starting to walk your path and trust in yourself and trust in what you're being guided to. What's happening now is you're being asked to allow some of these relationships to come in when they show up, and offer you some more stability, offer you some human connection. So there's a really brilliant opportunity for you here to use this month to program for yourself the ability to use the relationships around you in a really grounded and present way to keep you and help you anchored into what is, because you have been flying by your own, flying by your own rules. You have been really following your own path, and really been anchored into the development of yourself, which we applaud you for. This is the most amazing thing you can do. And what's happening now is divine wants you to understand now how to do this of the human world, how to do this in a way that will benefit everybody that's connected to you. So there's a lot of times on this spiritual journey where you will be called to do your own internal work and called to follow the beat of your own drum, right? And you're called to do this path in a really interesting way. And so for you, what the goal is now in October is to start to recognize how people can marry and even benefit this path that you're on. And so it might feel a little slow. In essence, stability means you're grounding more. It means your platform, the platform, the foundation that's supporting you is becoming thicker, more stable. You can build more on top of it. And so what this is in honor of is that you have walked your path. You have made decisions that it's really aligning you to the beauty and the truth of who you are and why you're here. But what's needed now is this engagement with people around you. We got to let some of these people into your world so that they can interact with you, and you can start to see how you've changed. You can start to see how these people are reconnecting or engaging with you. And so this is all about the mastery for you, and what you're programming this month is taking your relationships and allowing these personal one-on-one relationships to become a part of your new foundation. So you're actually moving to the second step of this, which is going to be a really beautiful adjustment for you, and it's going to bring in more connection and really get you grounded in a really nice and connected way. How fun and new is this? Welcome to part 3. So this is where we're going to do a little bit of process here. So something you might need, or I'd love for you to have, is a journal or a piece of paper, but a journal will be great because we want you journaling this throughout the month to really take action and program these next steps for your red and blue path. So the first thing we're going to review for both red and blue path is what it means to live linear, or to live in the old paradigm. So what is it to live linear? It's basically living a beginning to an end. Think of your days. Think of how you get up every morning. You have the same exact routine. Everything is very structured. Everything is very cyclical. Everything is very patterned. How often do you allow yourself to go completely rogue? Probably not very often. Humans live in patterns. Humans live in a linear loop. Basically, this means you do the same thing, same actions, so that you can control the situations, control the circumstances. So why does this not work? And why are we trying to unplug from the linear paradigm and move into a multi-dimensional paradigm? This is because when you have the same experiences over and over, you're literally living in the cyclical existence. There's nothing outside of the box that has an opportunity to come in and shift your reality. And what's happening is, naturally in November, this is going to be done for us. And if you don't understand what it means to live multidimensionally or with multiple timeline options, if you stay stuck in just a beginning to an end cycle each and every day, you have multiple cycles in a lifetime. If you start or keep living in these cycles, you're going to miss these next steps, these waves of opportunity that get you outside of what you know and get you into the potential of where you're going. And so why is it not working? And why do we want to click ourselves or unplug ourselves from the linear paradox? It's because when we can open ourselves up to multiple potentials, and we will review this for each red and blue path and what's coming up for your mastery. But when you can start living in the multiple potentials, meaning it's not your way, it's the highest way that comes in, then you live in a complete alignment to the highest path, to the highest potential of each day. But what it means is you have to trust, number one, and you have to really move through the different levels and layers of your energetic connections, which is your physical, your emotional, your mental, and then what could be considered the higher spiritual levels. And so instead of just waking up, plugging into the metaphysical paradox, which means you always get up, take a shower, eat your breakfast, maybe grab your items for the day, get in the car, head out, and do the 9 to 5, come home, do your, decompression if it's a workout, and then food, and then TV, and then bed, right? This would be the linear paradox. You stay aligned to that cyclical pattern because within that schedule, within that pattern, there's predictable results. And so when we unplug from that, what we're doing is we're opening up our timeline to pull in more potential, higher potential, things that can align to us when we get out of our own way or get outside of the boxes that we've created around our life. And so what this means is you have to, instead of getting up, taking a shower, eating your breakfast, grabbing your tools and sticking your keys in the ignition, instead of doing the linear trajectory for your day that you typically do when you get up. If you feel like when you wake up and try and get out of bed, if you feel like you need to do something different. Maybe it's you look outside and it's a gorgeous day, and instead of getting right up and just jumping in the shower, you want to get up and go outside and do a coffee break first, right? Or if you want to take in what catches your first momentary, brief awareness, and it's the outside nature, the sun shining in your window, and you want to do something a little different, and you feel it and you look at it and it catches your eye for more than a moment, then this might be the calling. This might be that first energetic engagement to try and get you out of the pattern. Or maybe you wake up and you realize, maybe you wake up ahead of your alarm and you look at your time clock and you say, oh, I still have 15 minutes. Thank God, I'm going to just roll over and go back to sleep. Instead of looking at the clock and saying, oh, wow, I woke up 15 minutes early. Let's get out of bed and do a meditation before we start, or just sit quietly and see what that brings. Right? So there's reasons for everything. There's reasons why something grabs your attention. The umbrella that's sitting next to your door, and you look at it for an extra 3 seconds, but decide not to bring it. And then later that day, it's rainstorms. And so there are reasons why things in our reality will hold our attention and grab our attention away from our typical schedule and our typical patterns. And so this is clicking out of the linear paradox. And so when we trust in those slight moments of engagement, those inclinations of something different, when you're turning left to go down that same street to work every day, yet you could go straight and take maybe a few minute longer drive. Instead of doing this, you take that same routine every day, but maybe today you look forward and you say, I think I'm going to drive the long way in and see what happens. And then what that does to your entire day when you allow yourself to shift out of the predictable and open up to something different. And so when we do this, we allow our energetic field to let go of the walls, to let go of the parameters, to let go of the cyclical patterns, and bring in new experiences. So this is the first step in living multidimensionally, is allowing yourself to get out of the control, allowing yourself to get out of the pattern. And then after you do this, after you start to understand what it means to live a linear life or to live a multidimensional life, then what we can do is start to review what this means for your October programming experience on either the red or blue path. So we're going to look at red first, and then we'll go to blue. So the red path check-in. So red path is all about witnessing. And so for programming this month, what we want to do is, with the multidimensional aspect of what you're bringing in, it's all about your mind. And so your mind is going to be the source of inspiration for living multidimensionally this October. And so what you think you need to act on, and this is your programming adventure for October. Now for Blue Path, it's all about relationships being the thing that comes in to ground you into the multidimensional paradigm for this October. And so for Blue Path, what's going to happen are there's going to be people, there's going to be connections, there's going to be physical human beings showing up each and every day, people you maybe see every day anyways, but other people calling you, maybe emails, maybe people popping into your mind that you're thinking about. So when somebody shows up, whether it be through telephone call, through email, through physical human to human experience, or even just thinking about somebody, your living multidimensionally is going to be kicked into high gear through your relationships this month. And so you're going to learn how to live multidimensionally and begin programming through your relationships. So now what I want you to do is grab a notebook, because the next thing that we're going to do is look at how you can start to document and become the programmer of your multidimensional reality, and see what happens when you switch from living in the linear paradox to living in the new multidimensional flow. And so for Red Path, what I want you to do is in the morning, I want you to take a moment before you get out of bed, keep your journal on your bedstand, and in the morning, jot down all of either your ideas for the day. I want you to get really clear. Maybe it's your agenda. Maybe it's the tasks that you have to do. I want you to write down everything that's in your mind that you need or want to do for the day. And then your goal is going to be to take this notebook with you throughout your day. And during the day, when you come up to a scheduled point within that agenda, within what you mind dumped into the journal, it says you're going to have to eat breakfast at some point. You're going to have to do grocery shopping today. You're going to have to do all of your work tasks. You have all these things written out. And when you get to a point, you're going to be the person who has the journal with you all day. And when you get to a point where you've come up, it's 9 a.m. and this is when you typically eat breakfast, I need you to check into how you feel about eating breakfast in that moment in time. And if your body goes, ooh, it doesn't feel right to eat right now, then you look around and you open up. Is there something else on the list I feel inclined to do? Or is there something in my environment while I'm standing here in the kitchen that seems like a better use of my time right now? Maybe you're somebody who doesn't plan your grocery lists, and you get to the store and you always regret everything you bring back from the grocery store, and you're standing in the kitchen and you look at your list and you see you have to go grocery shopping today. So maybe instead of eating breakfast first, you actually plan your grocery shopping list, something you never do. Oh my gosh, new energy, new paradigm, shifting in, a new way of living. And so these are the things for you. It's going to be a mind dump in the morning, and then throughout the day, checking into that list, those tasks. And when you arrive at one of those points, one of those tasks, you actually click in and say, am I feeling this? You need to check in with your feeling body. Sink down from the head, out of the head, sink into the stomach and the heart, and say, do I feel like eating? Ask yourself, do I feel like eating? And then you're going to say, oh my gosh, yes, I'm so ravenous right now. And so you'll eat. Or it's going to feel wrong. And then you revisit what to do next. And so you're allowing yourself to break free of the typical patterns of that typical schedule. And so for Red Path, the goal for you, and we're going to get into this with your new beginning at the next video, but the goal in what you're learning to do is let go of your mental field. So you're going to have a big energy shift here, where you're going to realize that everything your mind is telling you to do is not always aligned to what is the best case scenario for you. And so for you, the big goal here in the new beginning is going to be opening you up to more and new potentials. You tend to get in your own way and very regimented, very structured, and you do things how you've always done them, leaving little room for new experiences. And so the big shift for you is going to be a very big shadow block that comes in the first few weeks of the month, that's going to help you shift in letting go the need to know what you're doing, the need to control your life in a certain way, and being more open to the natural flows or what's happening in the moment. Blue path. So for blue path, what you're going to do is get out your journal, and at the end of each day or during the day, depending on how much energy you want to put into this, at the end of the day, you're going to make a list of the people who showed up on your path. And when you make this list, you're going to, maybe you make columns and you write the person's name, you write what their agenda was, or how they, why they showed up, what the connection was. And then you're going to write down what they wanted from you, right? Or what you wanted from them, what the goal of their showing up was. You're going to also note down energetically how this made you feel. Did you feel used? Did you feel like the relationship benefited you? Try and put an emotional description there. And so the goal of what you're doing is recording all of the people who showed up. Again, if you're thinking about somebody throughout the day, you need to immediately call them, even if you don't know why you're thinking about them. Call, reach out, send an email, and just say, you were on my mind. What are you up to? I'd love to hear about what you have going on now, right? And so you're reaching out when somebody pops into your mind, when somebody reaches out and you have a phone call, when somebody actually shows up in your human reality, you see an old friend at the grocery store, or whatever this is. You're going to write down all of these people, all of the interactions that you've had throughout the day, and keep track of these throughout your this entire programming month. Because the big revelation for you, the big goal that's shifting for you, is recognizing that when you actually allow your truth to show up in the physical reality, meaning through human to human contact, because that's what this life is all about. When you are doing you and living in your highest truth, which is what you've been doing, and that's why you picked Blue Path, when that happens and then you have these encounters showing up, these people showing up, you're going to learn a whole lot about how you are moving forward. You're going to get a whole day of angry, intense people. You're going to get a day of thinking about people, writing it down in your log, and then 3 days later, these people show up and help you move leaps and bounds to the next phase of your journey, right? You're going to see the patterns of people and how people are affecting your development, your shifting, because your goal, your new beginning, is a huge shift in consciousness. And this only happens when you actually allow the people around you to keep you anchored into what you're building. And so for you, you have a tendency to go so far ahead that you're out of the appropriate timelines. You tend to produce things too quickly. You produce things at the wrong time. You produce things ahead of schedule or even behind schedule. And so you tend to not be aligned to the collective energy of the world. And so, we could call this a prophet, a pioneer, somebody who's, what do they call that? A trendsetter, right? And so what happens with this is you're creating timelines that other people are too far behind with. And so what we're trying to get you to do here in this transcending moment of living multidimensionally is learning how to use your relationships in this human reality to keep you anchored on the right energy, the right timeline, being in the right place at the right time. And so for you, this actually might start the beginning of the month, and you might not have a lot of human to human contact, or it might be not the most conducive human to human contact. And then what will start to happen and unfold for you as you start documenting these things, and as you start thinking about people, when you think about an old friend, or when you think about, a business partner, you immediately send the email out or text message them or even call them or try and arrange a meeting with them. Because what this will do is it'll start anchoring you into the right timelines, because you get in your own trajectory and move too fast. And what this will do when you reach out to all these people that you're thinking about, questioning, maybe wanting to align with, when you actually extend energy to them in the physical world, they will help get you on the right timeline and making it that everything is perfectly timed, perfectly placed for you to have the best engaged experience moving forward. So this is your tool to move from a linear, cyclical, old paradigm experience into living multidimensionally. And this is step 1 for October. So with so much light and love, if you do not have the Chakra Deck app, I highly suggest you download that. There is a great process there that takes what we're doing here in building your foundation and takes it to an even bigger degree, where you get to see the archetypes and roles you're playing. So if you want to do that, that's in the tools there on the Chakra Deck app, and there's so much more daily awareness and guidance that you can use to really make sure you're staying aligned each and every day to the highest energy. So with so much light and love, until our beginning of the month, a new energy video. If what you seek is seeking you, then what are you looking for?
There's a part of you that wants to expand, it wants to grow, and it wants to feel much better than it already does.
This membership program offers courses to change your reactions and tools to expand your perspective.
They're tools. They're just trying to amplify what's already there, make you a better version of self. This is the first time I felt full in my entire life.
Guided meditations and live interactions will bring validation.
Going through these rebirths, or this evolution, this form of change, this shift, it is the most exciting part.
Explore your potential, embrace your gifts, and empower your life.